hello, this is Scott from Scott in the System. I believe this is episode number 5 for our second season. And our guest today is Kendrick Heinlein from Area Agency at AG West Michigan, the contract director. Welcome, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Scott. I really appreciate you having me on.
As I usually ask my guests, for how long have you been doing in this position?
It'll be 2 years this coming December.
Okay.
So
Is this a relatively new position, or?
it is not. Nope. At the area agency, we have our different departments, and it's been a part of the department for quite some time now.
Okay. Today we are going to talk about transportation, which I would think is a vital portion of independent living, much as medical, healthcare, and stuff like that. What is RideLink?
So RideLink is a transportation system that is funded through the Kent County Senior Millage. And what RideLink aims to do is provide transportation for older adults who are 60 plus throughout Kent County. The transportation providers for RideLink is the Rapid, Hope Network, Senior Neighbors, Kent County Community Action, and United Methodist Community House. And what these partners aim to do is take you to medical trips, take you to recreational trips, to the mall, to the grocery store. There's really not a place that RideLink will not transport you or try to transport you.
Within Kent County?
Yep, within Kent County.
Okay.
Yep. And then the reason RideLink was put together is because we were having issues with people calling, scheduling for rides, and multiple providers showing up for that ride.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you'd have 2 or 3 vehicles there for one person for transportation, and it just wasn't the most effective way for transportation to work.
I would think that.
So we cleared that up. Yeah, we cleared that up. And so
the next person might not have any.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you probably know, if you have 3 providers at one house, that means somebody's without a ride. And ultimately, that's what we aim to avoid, is having people not have transportation to where they need to go.
Okay. I guess a question that comes to my mind frequently is there any way they could lower the age restriction for those of us below 60?
Right now, we're not looking into that just because it is a millage-funded service, and under those definitions through the millage, you do have to be 60 or older to use RideLink and live in Kent County. Those are the 2 stipulations. If you meet those qualifications, then you are able to use the service. Okay.
Sorry, folks, I tried. Those of us that quite hadn't met the milestone. How much does it cost?
So RideLink, the nice thing about RideLink is trying to help all older adults, it is just a suggested $2 donation. Now, providers will never turn you down if you're unable to provide the full $2. But the $2 donation there and back, so $4 total, goes directly back into the program. So a way you could look at it is if you're making the donations, that's equating to other older adults being able to have transportation as well. But if whatever you're able to donate, we will still be able to give you the ride. But yes, we do ask for that $2 donation each way.
Well, yeah, that's bargain compared to $3.50 each way with Go Bus or something.
Yeah, it is. Affordable transportation's an issue all around. So that was the thoughts with the $2. Is that was a good starting point. I mean, if you think about it, most services you use, you're $5 before you even get going to where you need to go.
Oh yeah, I can guarantee you something like Uber or something is not going to be $4.
Yep.
That's about what you pay to get out the parking lot.
Yeah, it's a very reasonable cost. If you transportation usually generally costs about $28 per person each way. So if you figure that you're paying $2 of that 28, it makes it very, very reasonable.
If I do my wonderful math, that's less than 10%, I would think.
Yep, you're correct.
Wow. Okay, our next question is, what is the requirements to ride Link? I think you already told us.
Yeah, I jumped ahead a little bit, but it is, you have to be 60 or older and live in Kent County.
Okay. What is the Go Bus and how do you use it?
So the Go Bus is a paratransit service offered by the Rapid, and it is required through the ADA. And when I say ADA, it is the Americans with Disability Act. The ADA states that if you have a fixed route transportation system, like the Rapid does, that you need to provide a paratransit system to make sure everyone's able to use the rides similar to what they would be able to if they use the fixed routes. When I say fixed routes, that's, you know certain bus lines are going to run at certain amount of time, certain parts of the day, and on a fixed route which they are traveling. The Go Bus takes that system and is able to travel 3/4 of a mile outside of those fixed route bus systems to make sure that it is accessible for all older adults and persons with disabilities.
Okay. What does it cost?
So as we alluded to earlier, it costs $3.50 each way for persons with a disability. And if you're an older adult, now I'm going to check myself here, older adult through the ADA is defined as 65 plus. So if you're an older adult that is 65 plus, it's going to cost you $8 each way to use Go Bus.
Oh, so that's why those would probably want to go to RideLink, I would guess.
Yeah, RideLink is a very good service.
Yeah, and I'm dating myself here, but I can recall when Go Bus was $1.25. That's a minute ago. What are the requirements to use Go Bus?
So you either have to be 65 or older or apply through the Rapid, who determines if you are eligible to be able to use Go Bus. They'll do an assessment, you'll fill out paperwork, and then within 20 days of doing that, they'll let you know if you are eligible to use the Go Bus as a person with a disability. And then if you meet both those requirements, and then you are able to use it and use it to its full extent.
Yeah, and I would want to add that the required paperwork usually requires the doctor's written statement why you're, disabled and would be, eligible to use it, as I recall.
That is correct. The Rapid wants to make sure that people are not abusing the use of the Go Bus and that it's available to the people who really need it.
Yeah, yes, I always tell people, as much as we like to complain about it, it's still a privilege. Why does the Go Bus only go to specific areas of Kent County?
So the Go Bus is under federal ADA standards. So as much as, in talking with the Rapid, as much as they'd like to be able to go that extra mile and cross the street to give you door-to-door service like all people would like, they are federally regulated on where they can provide Go Bus trips. That's why if you look at a map of where the Go Bus does have routes, it's not perfectly squared off. It's specific sections. as I mentioned earlier, those sections are based off of the 3/4 of a mile outside of those fixed routes. So last I was watching one of your interviews earlier, and you had a question if it does go to Frederick Meyer Gardens. And it actually does, but then there's a cutoff point right after Frederick Meyer Gardens to where you would not be able to have the Go Bus go. So if you are looking to use the system, it's very good to familiarize yourself where exactly the Go Bus can and cannot take you, because it is federally regulated. It's not by the choice of the rapid or the drivers. They're mandated to stick within those realms of where they can and cannot take you.
Yeah, so like I know they used to go to Fifth Third Ballpark, but not anymore. So that was not their decision. I guess that was more of a federal thing.
Correct. Yeah, as much as sometimes you hear blame coming to the Rapid, their hands are kind of tied because they have to stick within those regulations of where their fixed routes are going and where the Go Bus can and cannot go.
So if we would like to go places like Fifth Third Ballpark, would you recommend folks such as myself to contact our local representatives, or?
You know, I never think it's a bad idea to advocate, but those regulations are set in place by the ADA and the paratransit transportation. So unless there was a fixed route that was starting to go out by Fifth Third to where it would be within 3/4 mile for Go Bus to go, there's not too much that can be done. It's always nice to advocate though, so I'm never going to tell you no, but their hands are kind of tied in that situation.
So it's pretty much a set thing, unfortunately. They can't be adjusted that easily.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. What issues facing older adults and peoples with disabilities when trying to use different types of transportation, or different modes, I should say?
So I would say the largest issues that present themselves as far as different modes of transportation for people with disabilities and older adults would be accessibility and affordability.
Affordability is the key word for me.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, right now Grand Rapids is doing a transportation, looking into creating more biking trails and bike paths on roads, which is great for people that are able to bike to where they want to go. But for most older adults and people with disabilities, that's not a viable option. So even though they are working on different modes of transportation, sometimes those modes of transportation do not work. Transportation's a thing where if it works just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for the next person. It really varies case to case. And then affordability. Let's say you were going to use an on-demand transportation system to go where you want to go. And using that system is, say you had a fixed route to where you were going to take a trip using on-demand transportation to go from point A to point B, and you do that trip 7 days a week. And typically that trip costs you $14 there and back to do. Well, say you had that trip on a Saturday and there was an event going on downtown, and all of a sudden there's a surcharge, which you're not familiar with, that's applied to that trip. So that typical $14 trip now costs $40 because of an upcharge or a surcharge. For somebody that's on a fixed income or somebody that has a specific amount of income allotted for transportation, $40 isn't realistic for there and back. I mean, that's an awful lot of money for transportation. So that can cause a lot of issues. That unfamiliarity with, is this going to cost me the same price as it costs me every other day, can really present some large issues.
Oh yes. A quick example I could give, this past spring when I went to our church to be baptized, the service did not end until after 11
Wow.
on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And we're only talking 2 miles from my house. And we all know at that hour, Go Bus does not run. So I had to use AmbuCab, which turned out to be $47 plus $2.50 a mile, which came to $53 to go 2 miles to get me home.
Yeah, transportation can add up quick. Another thing is too, I'm sure with Go Bus you start to recognize some of the drivers. You have same drivers over and over and get a little bit of familiarity.
Oh yeah, there's many I go way back with.
Yep, but with an on-demand transportation or other transportation options, you're not going to be familiar with that, and nor are those people going to be trained or required to be trained to operate a lift, or if you need assistance getting in and out of the vehicle, they're not going to be trained like your Go Bus drivers are.
It would be pretty much luck of the draw.
Correct. Yep. Not saying they wouldn't try their best. It can present a few issues.
What are the alternate transportation options that can be used besides public transportation?
So I am going to stick to public transportation just a little bit and try to highlight throughout Kent County we really are trying to be, and especially the greater Grand Rapids area really is trying to be on the forefront of transportation. And when I say that is they're trying to make it easily accessible, lower wait times, and make it more friendly for everybody to use. So if you're right now there's a $8 million mobility challenge which is throughout Michigan, and what they want to do with that is they want to use it to create better systems of transportation that are already in place. And partners throughout Kent County are using that opportunity to better their systems. So for instance with Go Bus you could see possibly lower wait times, knowing how long you were going to wait. On the back end, you could be using an on-demand transportation system that you're not even aware you're using, but the providers are using that to help get you where you need to go quicker, and making it more accessible. They really are trying to make Grand Rapids and Kent County age-friendly to help make those trips quicker, more affordable, and ultimately get you to where you need to go so you always know you have a ride in a timely fashion.
Yeah, well, that would be a big help because it's not uncommon, if you're going across town, to spend a good, hour and a half perhaps each way.
Mm-hmm.
I get frustrated, when I go to like doctor's appointments that take only 15 or 20 minutes themselves, but I kill about 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon just to do that.
Absolutely. I will say that the Rapid is constantly looking at onboard times, how long a rider is on the Go Bus for, and they are looking at how they can make it more efficient. For last month, they actually had a 96% on-time ratio, which is very good and meets their standards. But when you're caught in that 4%, it does make it difficult and frustrating. So they are constantly trying to evolve and constantly trying to make it more user-friendly so you're not on a bus for multiple hours and you're not having to wait after your appointment's over for an hour to get picked up.
Yeah, well, it seems to me we experience this, for like will call situations.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to get there, they're pretty punctual, but when you're, part of a will call pickup, that's usually when you get the short end of the stick, so to speak.
It's tough. I mean, on any given hour for a will call, you can have over 150 will calls coming in. So when you put it in those terms, that's a lot of trips at one time that they're trying to get to.
Right. Do these options work for older adults and people with disabilities?
They do. Everything we've discussed here today is aimed to help older adults and people with disabilities with their transportation options and methods and modes.
Yeah, we used to have a service called County Connection, I believe, but unfortunately that was short-lived.
Was it? Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with it, so it must have been.
Yeah, it was like $14 each way.
Oh, okay.
I think it only lasted about 3 or 4 years. How much do they cost?
They vary. It varies. Just even the methods we've talked about today, they can range from $2 for your ride link to the $3.50 for the Go Bus to when you're getting to the on-demand and other transportation systems, like you mentioned, they can jump up quick. I would say to always check before the ride, even if they can't give you an exact. All transportation providers should be able to give you an estimate of how much that trip's going to cost, so you know where you should be at.
Yeah, basically how they work is they give you a base rate and amount per mile. Let's say like GoLux, per se. I believe they're $25 the first 10 miles, and after that $2.50 a mile or something like that.
It's always good to check and make sure that let them know that I want to make sure the vehicle has a wheelchair accessible ramp and things like that. That goes a long way. The more information that people with disabilities and older adults can give, the easier that makes transportation for them.
Yeah. A lot of times I would use like clock conversion, run a van, but that's $100 a day. That's real expensive.
It is.
Well, I think that's all our questions, and I appreciate you watching today. Thank you very much.